Hello Traceable designers, today we're making the very easy scallop style valance. We're going to be making a valance that can fit either over drapes or over shades. You can also easily add additional center panels or center scoops to fit wider windows, and you can adjust the panels for longer sizes to cover drapes or curtains. To determine your valance fabric sizing, you'll need to hang your curtain rod. So position it 1 or 2 inches past the window frame, then measure from bracket to bracket. This will give you the full width of your panel. Then you're going to add a couple of inches to that. My rod is 53 inches from bracket to bracket, so fold it in half. I'm measuring 30 inches by 24. Pull out your fusible adhesive backing from your kit, and we're going to size this to fit the width of your panel. I'm using a folded panel because it's pretty wide, and then you want to make sure that it will not extend past the edges. You don't want to iron it and get glue all over your ironing board, so you'll cut it just a little bit short of your full width. This valance includes a 2-inch rod hanging pocket, so you'll need a 4-inch section above your fusible backing. The fusible backing is where you will attach your lining. Everything above is unlined. So begin with a very straight top edge and make sure that your fusible backing falls below the lower edge of the design form. So I'm just moving across the top of my fabric section and marking 4 inches down. This will show me the placement for the top edge of my fusible backing. Now, since I have a very wide fabric section, I'm positioning my heat and bond. I'm folding it in half so that I know where the center is. Position the glue side facing down and just align it across those marks so it's nice and straight. And then what we're going to do is we're going to anchor that across the center. So you turn the steam off of your iron. You want a medium high heat, and then you're going to just fuse across the top of the backing. Keep the iron moving so you don't make iron marks, and make sure that that backing stays aligned across those marks across the entire top. Once that is anchored, you can reposition your design form over the top of, or the line fabric positioning marker across the top edge of the backing, and then just size the lower edge of your backing paper so that you do fall below the design form. Then complete the fusing across the entire fabric section so that you've deposited the glue across the entire back. Make sure you get the edges really well. For longer panels, you can throw the fabric over your ironing board and pull it toward you, making sure you keep that top edge aligned across the marks. Next, we're going to size our lining. You need a very straight edge across the top. Lining needs to extend completely beyond the edges, especially with the wider panels, because it can shift. Give yourself a good 2 or 3 inches around all edges for your lining to extend past. Once your backing is completely cooled, go ahead and peel that off to expose the glue. I've marked the very center, and I've ironed a crease down my lining so that I can make sure that it's positioned across past all of the edges. You need to cover all of the glue. Then start with a sweeping motion in the center out toward the sides. Make sure that your lining does cover the top edge of the glue, very straight across your marks. Sweep down the center and out toward the sides. Keep readjusting it to make sure that you are covering all that glue across the top edge. So just continue fusing until the lining is fully attached to the back of your fabric section. Then fold the fabric section in half and measure over to the half size of your valance width and mark the fabric, adding a couple of inches to the outer edge. You will be able to adjust that width once you've cut out your panel. Now we need to determine which sizing line to use to trace our custom size valance. To do this, we take our valance width and then we divide that by 2, 3, 4, whatever works best. In my case, the 13-inch line comes the closest, 26 inches. So that would give me 52 total inches, and then I'll just add a little extra on the outer edge. So once I've marked my width mark, this is the 50% mark plus a couple of inches, I'm going to position the 13-inch sizing line on the fold, then flip the design form to continue tracing. I'm also making sure that I have extra fabric on the outside because the straighter side goes around your rod return. You want to cut that a little bit wide because when you hang the panel, you'll have a chance to check the width and make sure it fits snugly against the wall, and then you can always adjust it. I'm also making a deeper panel. I'm using the line fabric positioning marker for the side panels to make it a little bit longer. I have also traced it both ways, with the center panel line and the side panel line to show you the difference in the depth. You can choose either depth, it's up to you. When you flip the form, then you'll align the left side of the form across the right side line, continuing along, making sure that you've positioned the proper depth line across the lined fabric positioning area, and then trace around to your width mark. Then you just use the design form to connect those marks to give you your panel width all the way up across your rod pocket section. So then you'll have a chance to adjust that once you hang the panel. As you can see, there's quite a difference between the center and the side panel depth. You can choose to do longer side panels, shorter scoop in the middle. In my case, I've chosen the deeper panel across the entire valance. Then just follow the trace line to cut out your valance. I like to turn the folded side facing me. It's easier to cut. And then really make sure you get some really nice cuts around the changing design. So make sure your curves are very clear. Then just cut off the edge and you can see that you have a connected, beautiful scalloped valance. So now fold your pocket area over. We're going to hang it first. So we fold that over to meet the lining but not overlap, and then just iron that down to flatten. Then cut pieces of fusible backing to fit inside that folded section without overlapping onto your lining or onto the ironing board. Use as many pieces as needed to cover your entire rod pocket area. Once that has cooled, you'll be able to peel off that paper to expose the glue. To finish your rod pocket, you'll fold the glue part over across the back side of the valance to cover the lining. This is kind of thick because you have 3 layers here, or 2 layers. So you'll just fuse that down, take your time, press the iron until you get that completely sealed. You want your pocket to really hold well. So press and hold until it's completed. Then we're going to add edge trim. So I've selected a 3/8 inch GIMP trim. It curves very easily around the corners. You want to make sure for a professional look that you really follow the line of the valance. I like to run the trim under the iron to get it nice and flat, and I'm using a tube glue called Unique Stitch. I like it because it goes on easily and it dries clear. So follow around a thin line along the edge and then just lay your trim on top and follow the line of the valance, making sure you get nice curved corners. And then once you get all the way around to the end, then you'll just snip that off flush against the edge, and then we're going to hang it to check the width. We want to make sure it is snug against the wall without buckling. So then if you need to remove anything from the outer edge, just mark it off, trace the design form side, and then trim that off. Do a little at a time because you want to make sure that it fits nicely. Then just add your outer edge trim and secure the pieces behind the pocket and on the bottom side. Then just slip your valance onto your curtain rod and you're ready to hang your beautiful new scalloped style valance. Thank you for joining me, Traceable Designers, and remember, you can always make your mark with Traceable Designer.